Good morning. Learning Tractate Shabbos, page 117. It's chapter 16. The name of the chapter is Kol Kisvei. And we'll start with the top. Mi Domi. Is the case of the Mishnah similar to ours? The Gemara is asking. Because the Gemara brought an example of saving. So we that's the last discussion that we had yesterday. Good morning, David.
Hey, Dave.
So the Gemara brought an example of saving a Sefer Torah. Saving a Sefer Torah with its scroll, with the scroll with its container. So the Gemara says here, Nasa Basar Davar Amuto. In regard to the scroll, the container serves as a base to something that is permitted.
To move.
Right, permitted to move.
Safer.
Right, the scroll of the scriptures.
Right.
Hocho Nasa Basar Davar also, but in regard to the moving Pesach offering, the hide serves as a base to something that it is forbidden to move, the meat of the offering.
Yeah, it can only stay the base of Midrash.
It says the number one, the flesh of the Pesach offering is muktzah. Since it may not be eaten until nighttime, when it will be roasted. Remember, it is doing.
This is when it's Motzi Shabbos Pesach.
Yes, so you're starting to prepare Pesach on Shabbos.
Right. So
the meat is muktzah until Saturday night. Yeah.
No early bird special then.
And the fact that this holy flesh will spoil if left in the sun is insufficient reason, according to Rabbi Shmuel, to permit moving it to the shade as a divine need, since a human being will benefit from this action as well. So, going back to the Gemara, rather, this is what the rabbi said to Rabbi Shmuel, the son of Rabbi Yochanan ben Beroiko, Im matzilin tiksha sefer, ima sefer, the afal pishe b'sei chomois, we save the Torah scroll with its container, even if there is also money in the container. Learn title or agav bosom. Should we not be permitted to move the hide on account of the meat? The meat's a holy meat, so why can't we move the hide? The Gemara says, Mi domi. Why are you comparing a Sefer Torah to Korban Pesach? Oh, some nasa basa davar also davar muto. Scroll container serves both permitted object, the Torah scroll, and prohibited object, the money. But here the entire hide serves as a base to something that is forbidden. The meat of the Pesach is forbidden until the night, because we're dealing with Korban Pesach that was prepared. Pesach falls on Moshe Shabbos, so Korban Pesach was prepared on Shabbos. Remember, there's a machlokes if you can flay the meat up to the breast or past the breast.
Right.
There's two opinions whether you are, because up to the breast is what the mizbeach needs. Right. So you're allowed to do it up to that. The vine needs for the mizbeach. But above, it's already the consumption of the consumption of us. Right. Why are you preparing from Shabbos to regular day? Shabbos to Yom Tov, you're not allowed to prepare from Shabbos to Yom Tov. You're allowed to prepare from Yom Tov to Shabbos.
Right. Not
from Shabbos to Yom Tov. Rather, this is what the rabbi said to Rabbi Shmuel, the son of Rabbi Yochanan ben Beroiko. If we may bring a container containing only money from elsewhere in the house to save in it a Torah scroll. The Torah scroll is laying unencased, without a casing, and we bring receptacle containing only money over the scroll over to the scroll to place it inside the receptacle and carry it to safely. Should we not be permitted to move the hide on account of the meat? What's the situation? In number 4, it says, in this situation, the container is a base purely to something muktzeh. So what do? You have a container with money. You take a scroll, you put it inside the container, and now you pick up the whole thing.
No, but wait a minute. Here it said the safer is sitting on the table, like not outside of the receptacle.
Now the receptacle is money. Now you can't move the receptacle.
Got the money. I got
you
that.
Can't move the receptacle with the money.
Right.
So what do? You're doing a trick. You put the Torah inside it.
With the money.
Where the money is, inside the receptacle, and now you're picking up everything.
Right.
Move it.
Deal.
Yeah.
But,
it's like if you have the tray of the candlesticks, right? It's a basis ledavar also. It's a base for something that is forbidden. It's candlesticks, right? On Shabbos.
Right.
But if on the tray there's also siddur.
Yeah.
So some say that you're allowed to move the tray because of the siddur that is on there.
Oh, that's cute.
There's a question if you're allowed to put the siddur after. If the siddur was there from the beginning of Shabbos, it's one thing. So over here, it seems like he's doing it as just as means to move the money.
So he could have put the money. Okay, so so the timing of the money is a big factor.
Let's see. So it says in this situation, the container is a best pure with something muktzah, yet it may be brought to the scroll without first tilting out the money, for the sake of the honor of the scroll. So you're allowed even to move the receptacle to the scroll in order to honor the scroll. We speak of a situation in which we cannot save the scroll unless it is inserted into a container. Similarly, it should be permitted to move the hide of the offering to preserve the meat. If you're allowed to protect the scroll by bringing the receptacle to the scroll and honor it, so we should be able also to save the meat. You should be able to move the hide in order to save the meat, because the meat is sacred.
Well, could you just cover the meat with the hide? I mean, the idea is
Possibly, but you have to move it out of the sun. You have to move it in a place where it's not gonna.
Yeah, well, I don't know why they're not shechting. Why they don't have a shady place to shecht.
Veigu from Menala now. Should we not be permitted to move the hide and kinds of meat? So it says Veigu from Menala. But this very point, from where do we know it? If you will say that since where there is money in the container together with the scroll, the Mishnah permits the person to move the container, and he need not first throw out the money. And it follows that we may also bring a container containing only money in it over the scroll. Midami, but is the case similar to the Mishnah? Also, there in the Mishnah's case, if we obligate him to first throw out the money, there is no danger. There is the danger that in the meantime the fire will catch onto the scroll. Whereas here, in the case of bringing a container containing only money over to the scroll, in the meantime, as he is running with the container, let him throw out the money. Therefore, there is no basis for assumption that it is permissible to carry a container with money in it over to the scroll. Going to 117a2. Ela amar mar baravashi le'olam kedarim meiko. After all, it is as we said originally that Rabbi Shmuel, the son of Rabbi Yochanan Broka, and the rabbis disagree only in regard to one point, whether it is permissible to flay the Pesach in its entirety. The rabbis brought proof that this is permissible from the fact that it is permitted to save the money along with the scroll, which benefits the owner at the same time as fulfilling a divine need. Similarly, we should be permitted to complete the filleting of the Pesach beyond the breast for the honor of God, despite the fact that there will be a peripheral benefit to the owner. And as for your difficulty that here in regard to the scroll container, it is a question of moving muktzah, which is forbidden only rabbinically, whereas in regard to the Pesach offering, it is a question of performing a biblical malacha. The answer is, we are discussing a case in which the person does not need the hide. Rabbi Shimon concedes that one is liable in the case of an inevitable consequence. The shokile bevarze, we are dealing with a case where he removes the hide in thin
strips.
Strips.
So if you're doing that, it's worthless. So the other case, if you were thinking we're taking it off as a whole, which you could use to make a pair of shoes or something.
What's the whole idea of doing it in thin strips? Because you're not doing it in the usual manner. He writes, since this is not the normal way of stripping hide, no biblical malacha is transgressed thereby, and the act is only rabbinically prohibited.
Okay. Okay, so, all right, fine. A shinoi, okay, I got it.
Okay, so there's two things over here at hand. You have a concept of melacha she'eina tzricha legufa, that you're doing melacha that you don't need the secondary outcome. For example, if I do melacha, I remove the hide, but I don't need the hide.
Right.
So although I work with the hide, but I don't need the hide.
Right.
So if that's the case, then it's not a problem. And if I would say the concept of psik reisha that we just mentioned, that it's an inevitable, if you're stripping the hide, you now can benefit from the hide. You can't say, "Oh, I'm stripping the hide and I didn't mean to do that. I wanted the meat." Of course you wanted the meat, but you also stripped the hide, and that's a malacha on its own.
Right.
So he says, if it's a malacha she'eina tzricha legufa, if it's a job, a work that you do that is not needed for its own purpose, you don't need the hide, you're not doing persek for the hide, it doesn't fall under the category of psik reisha, of inevitable act. Inevitable act is only when you need, like you shechting the cow, you're saying, I need the head of the cow. I didn't mean to kill it. I need the head of the cow.
Right.
It doesn't fall under melacha she'eina tzricha legufa because you actually taking the head. You need the head. You're doing melacha for the head of the cow. But let's see. It says, the next segment of the Mishnah discusses. So he says the shokil bevarze, right? We are dealing with a case where he removes the hide in thin strips. Next segment of the Mishnah discusses the place to which the scrolls may be carried when rescuing them. And to where may we take them to save them? To an open mavoi. Ben Beseira says even to an open one. To unopen, and then Ben Beseira says even to an open one. So unopened seemingly is a little bit more that everyone would agree that you could take it to unopened. And some say that even Movei Mefulosh is open, even to an open place. First of all, what is an open Movei? If the Movei possesses three walls and two lechis and two posts, almost like the laws of Sukkah.
Right.
Right? Three walls. In Sukkah you can have two walls and half, and two and a half. But over here it says three walls, and then two lechis, two posts, one on each side of the entrance. It is considered an unopened movei. So the three walls makes it unopened. Sholosh mechitza v'lechi echad ze movei. So if you have three walls but only one lechi, one post, not two posts, it's considered an open movei, an open space.
So we said you could put the sefer in an open space.
One opinion says that's the opinion of Ben Beseira, but there's an opinion that you can only take it to an unopened movei. Okay. And both of them, the rabbis and Ben Beseira, stated their views in accordance with Rabbi Lezer. That none. How is an adjustment of a movei affected to permit carrying within the movei? Beis Shammai emrim lechi v'koil. Beis Shammai say a lechi and a koil and a crossbeam must both be erected at the entrance, a post and a crossbeam. Beis Hillel oy lechi oy koil, but Beis Hillel say either a lechi or a koil is sufficient. Rabbi Eliezer shnei lechoyim. Rabbi Eliezer says two lechis are required, one on each side of the entrance. Amar le Rabba said to Rav Chisda, Sholosh mechitzes v'lechi echad mefulosh koris le. Do you call a movei with three walls and one lechi open? Ve'od leRabbanon natzi l'secho ochlin u'mashkin. And furthermore, according to the rabbis who permit saving scrolls only into a fully adjusted movei, let us be permitted to save there too foodstuffs and beverages as well. If the movei has two facing walls and two lechis, one at each entrance, it is considered an unopened movei. If it has two walls and one lechi and one post, it's considered an open movei. And both of the Tanoim stated their views in accordance with Rabbi Yehuda. The Tanya, for it was taught in a Braisa, Yoser al Kain. Moreover, Rabbi Yehuda said, if someone has two houses, two opposite sides of the public domain, he may construct a lechi here at one end of the houses and a lechi here at the other end of the houses. Or a koira here and a koira here. And he may then pick things up and place them down in the streets between. The sages said to Abuda, one cannot adjust a public domain in this manner, with lechis or koiros to enclose the street between the houses. According to you as well, let us be permitted, according to the rabbis, to save into this movei foodstuffs and beverages. If you have 3 walls and 1 post, it's considered Mavoi she'eino mefulosh. It's considered unopened mavoi, closed mavoi. Gimel mechitzos beloi lechi, 3 walls without post, the mavoi mefulosh. That's an open mavoi. Va'afilu Rabbi Lezer d'omar ba'inan lechaim. According to the Rabbi Lezer, he said you need to have 2 lechis. This is true only in regard to saving foodstuffs and beverages. But in regard to saving a Torah scroll and mavoi with 1 lechi suffices.
So the machal on the Torah.
Now we'll go into the Mishnah. One may save enough food for 3 meals. God forbid a fire. You're allowed to save from the house 3 meals for Shabbos. One is obligated to eat on Shabbos. What is fit for people may be saved for people. But you also have to save food for the animal. And what is fit for the animals may be saved for animals. Ketzon. How so? Under what circumstances may one save enough food for 3 meals? No, Shabbos. If fire broke out on the Shabbos Eve, Friday night, before the person ate, he may save enough food for 3 meals. Since 3 meals remain to be eaten that Shabbos, B'shachris, if it broke out in the morning before the meal, he may save enough food for 2 meals. Since only 2 meals remain, if it broke out in the afternoon before the final meal, he may save enough food for 1 meal, since only 1 meal remains. One may always save enough food for 3 meals. So the Gemara questions the ruling of the Mishnah that only enough food for 3 meals may be saved. When one saves food from a burning building on the Shabbos, he is busy with that which is permissible. The food is not muktzah, and he carries it out only to a courtyard whose houses are joined by an eruv. Not ziltfei, hence let us be permitted to save even more than this amount. Why not? Why not to save more?
Right.
Not till tfei. Let us be permitted to save even more. Because a person is in turmoil over the threatened loss of his property, he becomes panicky at the prospect of losing his possessions. You say an interesting test. When the fire alarm goes off, you can see what is the most precious to you.
Right.
If the fire alarm goes off in your house, what is the first thing you do?
I don't know. I hope I never find out.
First thing you do is you grab your wife and kids.
Okay, yeah.
That's it. That's the most important.
Right.
The rest of it the rest of it can probably be recuperated.
Yeah.
Or if not, who cares? But your wife and kids are the most important thing. So that's what you.
If you're by yourself, then you find out what materials thing you want or not want.
Right. If you're by yourself, I guess you take your phone.
Yeah. That's America for you now. Actually, the whole world is like this.
Yeah, you take your wallet, your phone.
It's amazing.
Your computer.
I can remember when we all had to use payphones and write letters. I remember in college, I had to write letters. You know, it was very expensive to make a call from where I was in school to and so we were all writing letters back and forth. It was like a whole different world. Anyway, we're digressing, but I just thought of that.
He says, if you permit him to save more things, he'll just come to extinguish the fire. He says, why should I start saving the possession? Let me just battle the fire, and that's it. Amar le'Abaye the Tanya. The Tanya 117b2. If a barrel filled with wine broke on one's rooftop, he may bring he may bring a vessel and place it beneath the barrel.
Have a glass, l'chaim.
in the courtyard below in order to save the wine. Provided he does not bring another vessel and catch the wine in midair as it falls from the roof, or another vessel, and hold it level with the roof to collect the wine, and it runs over the edge. Also, my gezerah there. What reason for a decree is there? Why did the rabbis limit saving the wine, since no forbidden acts are involved? Here too there is a decree, lest in his haste, he's in a rush, the person forget the Shabbos and carry a vessel through the public domain. So you're allowed to bring a kli. He may bring a vessel placed beneath the barrel, but he does not bring another vessel and catch the wine in mid-air. If a barrel filled with wine broke on one's rooftop, maybe may bring a vessel and place it beneath the barrel in the courtyard, provided he does not bring another vessel and catch it. If another vessel and hold it level with the roof.
This is stupid.
If guests chance to visit him and he needs the wine to serve them, maybe he may bring another vessel and catch the wine in midair or another vessel and hold it level with the roof. But he may not catch the wine and afterwards invite guests. Rather, he should first invite guests and afterwards catch the wine. And one must not employ a subterfuge in this manner. Once again, he may not, as a pretext, invite guests whom he knows have already dined and will leave over most of the wine they are served.
Cute.
That's what it means to subterfuge.
Thirsty, otherwise you can invite him. Okay, great.
That's what subterfuge means.
Yeah,
he's acting in trickery.
Mishum. To make sure they're thirsty, then it's okay.
Yeah. Mishum Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda in the name of Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda, they said one may employ a subterfuge.
Okay.
According to Rabbi Yossi, you're allowed to use this loophole. The Gemara attempts to connect to the above dispute, an earlier dispute of Tanai. Should we say that they are arguing the Tana Kama and Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda dispute concerning the same principle that underlines a dispute between Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Shua? Tanya Oisov has been notion of Labeir. What happened if an animal and its offspring that fell into a pit on Yom Tov? Let's say a cow and its calf fell into a pit on Yom Tov. One may raise the first animal in order to slaughter it, and he must then slaughter it. And for the second animal, he provides sustenance in its place. He throws food to the pit so that it not die.
So why not just throw food to both of them and wait till after Shabbos?
Let's see. One may raise the first animal ostensibly in order to slaughter it, but he need not slaughter it. And he may then employ subterfuge to raise the second animal. It says in 11, he may claim that the first animal did not meet his expectation. It was too thin, and that the animal which is still in the pit might be more desirable for Yom Tov meal.
I thought we were talking about Shabbos here.
Yom Tov. This is the two animals. Because how can you shecht it on Shabbos?
That's true.
The owner prefers to have both animals removed from the pit as soon as possible because there is a danger that they may die there. So bring out the animal. Now I see that it's not as fatty as I wanted, so I will not shecht it. So I'm going to bring the second one. Maybe the second one is more
juicy.
Yeah. What's a zeh sheichet? If he wishes, he may slaughter this one. If he wishes, he may slaughter that one. Rabbi Yeshua rules leniently in the case of financial loss and permits one to employ subterfuge, while Rabbi Lezer rules stringently. Similarly, it would seem that Rabbi Yeshua would permit inviting guests who have no desire to drink as a subterfuge in order to be permitted to use more utensils to save the wine, while Rabbi Lezer would forbid this. Also, therefore, perhaps Rabbi Lezer ruled stringently only there because it is possible to avoid financial loss by providing sustenance for the animal in the pit. But here, where it is not possible to avoid financial loss without resorting to a subterfuge, it would not forbid a subterfuge. Rather, you might accept the lenient view of Rabbi Yisrael and allow the owner to save the wine by inviting guests whom he knows will not drink. Perhaps Rabbi Yisrael ruled leniently only there because there is suffering to a living creature. If we have to leave an animal in the pit until the conclusion of Yom Tov, what happened if Yom Tov is 2 days? But here, where there is no suffering to a living creature in the case of wine, he would not permit the use of subterfuge. We therefore cannot say with certainty that the dispute between Rabbi Lezer and Yeshua is analogous to the present dispute. If he saved bread from the fire made of fine flour enough for 3 meals, he may not subsequently save bread made of inferior flour.
No pumpernickel.
Yeah, however, if he saved bread made of inferior flour, he may subsequently save bread made of fine flour. You save from Yom Kippur for Shabbos, but not from Shabbos to Yom Kippur. Needless to say, not on the Shabbos for Yom Tov, on this Shabbos for this coming one that you're not allowed to. One forgot bread baking in an oven, and the day become holy. It's Shabbos already. Put the bread on Friday. Yeah. Now it's Shabbos. Can he take it out of the oven?
The famous case.
You may save food for 3 meals. It's now considered like the food is in fire.
Right.
You're saving it from the fire because if it would stay there, it would burn. And he may tell others, come and save for yourself. When he removes the bread, he may not remove, because back then, just take the dough, stick it into the wall of the oven.
Right.
So you had to remove the bread. So when you remove the dough, remove this bread from the oven, you should do it with a knife, not with a baker's paddle.
Because that's the normal way.
Right. So the knife is not the usual.
Right.
The Gemara says, but it was taught in the academy of Rabbi Shmuel, you should not do any labor. Excluded is the blowing of the shofar or the removal of bread from an oven, because it is an art, not a labor. The rabbis did not decree against performing these acts since they are not similar to melachos, but are rather skills. Since the removal of bread from an oven is not biblically prohibited, why does the Brisa require that it be performed in an unusual manner? Because as much as it is possible to deviate from the norm, we must deviate. A man should always arise early on Friday morning to tend to the expenditures of the Shabbos, to everything that he needs to take care, all the things that he needs to do for Shabbos, to do Shabbos shopping. And it shall be on the sixth day that they shall prepare that which they bring. La'alta, this implies immediately, so early in the morning. A double ration of manna fell on Friday, half Friday and half for the Shabbos. God instructed the Jews, prepare that which they bring, cook or bake the Shabbos portion of the manna on Friday. Since the pasuk juxtaposed preparing and bringing, we'll learn that the preparing should be performed immediately after the bringing, the collecting, right after the collecting. And since the collecting was done early in the morning, as it is written, and they collected it each morning, it is explained that this means early in the morning. The preparation as well should be done early in the morning. On Shabbos, a person is obligated to break bread, to recite Hamotzi over 2 loaves. Dichtiv lechem mishne. It is written a double portion. Amar Ravashi chazino leil Rav Kahana deno katartu v'tzachad. I saw that Rav Kahana would hold 2 loaves when he made the Hamotzi blessing, but he would cut only one. Omar lok to kesiv, they gathered a double portion. It doesn't say not they broke a double portion. So that's why he said the bracha on 2 but cut 1. Rabbi Zera would break a piece of bread after he made a Hamotzi blessing, large enough to last the entire meal. So he made a big portion. But it appears like voraciousness.
You need like a pig.
Yeah. Gluttony.
Exactly.
Yeah. The person's good intentions notwithstanding, he gives the impression of being glutton.
Yeah.
Major character flaw.
Yeah. Shabbos.
Major character flaw.
It's different on Shabbos.
Right, that would be the answer. Voracious.
Yeah.
So if you want to call somebody...
Like the termites that eat up your house.
They're called voracious.
Yeah. God forbid you should know from these. I'm sure you've dealt with it in your business.
I did a couple of tentings. It's called tenting. It's they put a tent over the house.
And they
not in my house, thank God.
fumigate.
And they do fumigation, yeah.
I had it in the basement in New Jersey. Of course, it's different than Florida.
Right.
So we had they were drilling and putting the stuff in.
Right. Oh, that's a different type of.
And they would come in. We had like outside. I had a cement
right.
patio or whatever, and they would dig in through the cement.
Wow. I thought they only
you would think so, but
wood destroying organism, right?
They're amazing, these termites. Those termites. I don't know about the Florida termites.
Anyhow, so Amarlei Kevin the Choyom Lavid Vaidna Hu the COVID. Every day he didn't cut such a big piece of bread, but on Shabbos he did. Lo Michzikavnu, so it doesn't look like voraciousness. Ravami Ravasi Kimikalo Rifna the Ruba. Ravami and Ravasi. When the bread of the Eruv Chatzeros happened to be deposited with them, Shoruloi, they would commence the Shabbos meal with it. They would pronounce the Hamotzi blessing over it. So that was the bread for Eruv Chatzeros. You put a bread and you make the common area.
Every Yontif, I forget to eat the Eruv Tashilin,
yeah.
like it makes me.
Oh wait, mitzvah. Since one mitzvah was performed with it, they do another mitzvah with it. The mitzvah achina, let another mitzvah be performed with it. Ketzad naflot leiko. Now, how so? If a fire broke out, the Mishnah rules that we may save enough food for 3 meals. How many meals do you have to eat on Shabbos? The Gemara says sholish. Rabbi Chidkiya Omar Arba. Rabbi Chidkiya says 4, 1 at night and 3 during the day.
Yeah, we kind of do that.
Both of them, Rabbi Chidkiya and Tanakama, expounded the same pasuk. Moshe said, eat it today. Ki Shabbos hayom laHashem, because today is Shabbos, and today you will not find it in the field. Hayom, listen to basod. So 3 times the word today. Rabbi Chidkiya Rabbi Chidkiya said 3 times today. So that's beside the nighttime, beside the evening meal. But the rabbi said that the 3 times today is inclusive with the evening, with Friday night. So therefore they say Friday night you eat 1 and 2 meals during the day.
Right.
The Seuda Shabbos meal and then the Seuda Shlishis.
Right.
But Rabbi Chidkiya said no, you have to eat 3 meals during the day because he said Friday night is its own thing. No, float lake Shabbos. If a fire broke out on the Shabbos Eve, we may save only food, enough food for 3 meals. How now is the Mishnah not discussing a case where he has not yet eaten the Friday night meal? This proves that the Mishnah maintains that there is an obligation to eat only 3 meals on the Shabbos.
So if the fire happens after you eat your Seudah Friday night, you should only save for 2 meals.
It says save for 3, so.
But you already ate 1.
No, but you want to say that if you're saving 3, Friday night, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you didn't eat yet.
Okay, then 3.
It says you're saving 3. Why not 4? It shows the opinions like the rabbis. Otherwise, you should have said 4. We save only enough food for 3 meals. Now, is the Mishnah not discussing a case where he has not yet eaten on Friday night?
Right.
He said when he has not yet eaten. This proves that the Mishnah maintains that there is an obligation to eat only 3 meals on Shabbos.
Right.
So then the Gemara says, Lo yidei no, the Mishnah refers to where he has already eaten the Friday night meal. Therefore, we permit him to save food for 3 meals for a total of 4 meals. So that supports Rabbi Chidkiya. We'll continue this, God willing, tomorrow.
Nice,
Yeah.